Erika Robinson back again with In the Company of Cards. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. This is a channel where I use Lenormand to look at some of the events of the day and ask some of the questions that we all probably have about some of these events. What it is not, however, is a how to read Lenormand channel. You will learn a little bit about how to read Lenormand if you watch me, but that's not really the purpose of the channel. If you go to my About page on this YouTube channel, you will see how I can help you learn Lenormand. I have a book which is called In the Company of Cards. I have a deck, which is the same deck that I use with you all. And I have a course that is through the Tarot Readers Academy. But if you go to the About page, you can get all of that information. So what I'm not going to be stopping and saying, okay, let me explain how this spread works. I'm going to do certain spreads to get to arrive at certain conclusions. And you may, as time goes on, start to intuit how these things work. But if you'd like to cut to the chase and learn, I have resources available for that. Okay. Oh yeah, right. If you would, I'd love it if you would like this video. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button, and please share if you feel so inclined. So there are three questions that I'd like to look at today. Well, 3.5, we'll say. The first one has got, I mean, all of us up in a smit. Well, maybe four. I just thought of a fourth. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I gotta write it down. All right. So the first question that has got us all, everybody's panties in a bunch, mine included, has to do with we'll call it the incident at Arlington National Cemetery. Now, I don't have to explain to anybody the significance of Arlington National Cemetery. It is a place of repose and honor and respect for countless people who've given their lives one way or another for the country. And so if you've been under a rock, let me just say that 45 went to Arlington. He's not a cemetery goer. I mean, he didn't even put Ivana in a cemetery. Instead, she's in a parking lot, entertainment purposes only. So, he's not a cemetery guy, but he went there for a photo op. And he went to a certain section where you are not allowed, there's a law against it, where you're not allowed to film. And so when he and his people were apprised of the fact that this was illegal to film in this particular location, they objected. And it was a woman employee who apprised them that they could not do this. And she was verbally and then physically assaulted. And then after the fact, maligned by Trump's people. I mean, come on. Now, the employee in question has been backed up by Arlington and the military. Of course, Arlington is the military cemetery. And they have said that she was doing her duty. She was following her instructions on her job, which was to keep people from filming that part of the cemetery. So she is in no way at fault, according to Arlington, according to the military. She also has decided not to take this any further. Meaning, I don't know, press assault charges on the people who assaulted her. And according to the military, according to Arlington, the reason that she doesn't want to press any charges is that she's afraid of repercussions from 45 supporters. And so, because that is her wish, Arlington and the military are saying this is a closed matter. What? What? Listen, I get why she didn't want to press charges. I get why she's afraid, because she already took her personal self, her body, put it in harm's way and received harm. And she knows who 45's followers are. I mean, you know, I don't need to elaborate on that. But what I don't understand is we're talking about the military here. They can't protect her. They can't bring charges on their own. I mean, wait, what? So I would like to know, why have the military and Arlington Cemetery decided to let sleeping dogs lie? Dogs. Letting these people who assaulted this poor employee, letting them off and just letting the thing die. What was that about? So I think, because we're talking about a cemetery, right? And because the situation has been, quote, put to rest, I think the card that I'm going to use as my significator is going to be, I'm sure you can probably already guess, because you've seen this card several times in recent readings, having other meanings than the one I'm going to ascribe to it today. The card is apparently deep in the deck. Okay, is the coffin. So this card in this reading will stand for the fact that the Arlington National Cemetery and the military are saying the issue is closed, done, over, dead, get it? All right, so that's going to go in the middle. I want to know why. So I'm taking the two cards that preceded in the deck and putting them to the left, and the two cards that follow and putting them to the right. And then I think I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers on the last two cards that I got. Okay. So we have the letter, we have the birds, we have the coffin for this dead now issue that went on there. We have the stork, and we have the scythe. Okay. So let's see, what might these mean in the context of the question? Okay. There's been a lot of reporting in the news. This is for talk, chatter, buzz, and this is the written form that I've seen the buzz in. There's been a lot written about this situation. Okay. There's the decision to just let it go. And we have the stork and we have the scythe. So I think that the reason that they let it go, and I drew clarifiers on the stork and on the scythe, but I think that the reason they let it go is just to, Arlington is a dignified, sober, somber, serious place. So it's like, can we kind of get back to business as usual? So that's why they made that decision, so that things could just go back to the way they were. Okay. Now I drew clarifiers on the stork. We have the cross and the woman. This stands for the employee who was abused. this stands for the pain that caused her. And I will say, I'll give Arlington its due. They don't want to cause her any more pain. They want her suffering to end, her suffering to get better, so to speak. So because she requested that, or announced that she was not going to press charges, they're like, okay, we're going to go along with that. We're going to go with what she says. However, this decision, the scythe is the card for decision, is not the end of things. There's more to this. This ship is still on the sea of this situation in ways that we can't know yet. So I'm going to ask a second question about this same issue. And the question I'm going to ask now is, will this incident, will it have ramifications for 45 in terms of the election? In other words, will there be service people who say, you know what, I was all about 45, but now maybe not, because that was just bad. So what I want to know is what happened at Arlington, him cheesing with the thumbs up, and then this woman being treated the way that she was, and them breaking the law and taking video at a grave site that they had no business being at. I would like to know, how will it affect the vote for him? So I'm going to just cut into three. And this time, instead of the coffin, I'm going to look for the letter. And this time the letter will stand for votes. And these are Trump vote. Will Trump voters be swayed in any way because of that incident? Okay. So we have the House, we have clouds. Here's the votes. We have the young woman, and we have the mice. Okay, what might that mean? The House. This is, for whatever reason, there have been a lot of sort of enlisted people who are in the house of Trump. They are his people. And so they're in his house. However, this incident has caused them to doubt him, to the extent that that may cause them second thoughts about their vote. Now, they may not vote for Harris, but they may take the yin receptive route, passive route of staying home, because, this is enough to make anybody anxious, nervous, worried. Like, we thought he was our guy, but what was that all about? Now, I can do the mirroring. Because of their doubts, this is the second card, I can mirror it with the fourth card. Because of their doubts about him, these enlisted people or veterans, veterans we're really looking at, they may say, you know what, I'm not going to vote. I'm just going to stay home. And whether they stay in his camp, the house of Trump, so to speak, that house is being nibbled away at. They will be less gung-ho than they were. So even if the military in Arlington are not going to press charges and want to let this die a quick death, it won't. This will have hurt his chances in the election. Okay, so that's the first question I wanted to look at. The next one is, and we will get back to him shortly. The next question has to do with, there is word on the street that we are due for another COVID outbreak, a big one. The speculation is in terms of timing that it will be sort of first week or two of January and then last through January of the following year. I don't remember when it was supposed to end. Let's not worry about when it ends yet. Let's just see if it's coming. Is a new bad wave of COVID coming at us as soon as the first or second week in January? Because, knowledge is power. So now, remember those mice that were standing for, the anxiety of the veterans over this question of the Arlington situation? Well, one of the other meanings for mice is disease. Just saying. So we're going to use that as our focus card. I did shuffle, so it's nowhere near that other question. We're going to see, we're going to look for those mice. They will stand for a bad COVID outbreak in the winter, and we will see what the cards have to say that I pull around it. Okay, it's deep in the deck. Hiding. Got it. Okay. And I think I'm going to pull. Okay, a couple of clarifiers. So, whenever I see the key, the answer is yes. There will be a big outbreak come January. Fish. And the fish is the card for for plenty, for a lot of. So there will be this outbreak, and I think it'll be widespread. Here's the outbreak itself. This is the disease itself, COVID. It will hit far and wide because remember, the garden is everything external to your front door. So it's going to affect a lot of people and probably last a long time and have ramifications for us in the future. So get your vaccine. If you're an anti-vaxxer, obviously, just like if you're a Trumper, this is not the page for you. But get your vaccines as soon as you can. I think, they'll be out in the fall, the next one. And use precautions, masking up at the airports and things like that, because I do think a big wave is in fact coming. Now, I drew a couple of clarifiers on a couple of cards. The first one is I drew a clarifier on the garden. And the garden is, just think of it as everybody, people, right? Americans, because, I'm looking at the illness in relation to the states. The rider, my rider carries, what's that thing you call it? When you mean peace, what's that thing? I forget what it's called. Oh, an olive branch. My rider carries an olive branch. Why? Because, he's not important. His horse is not important. What's important is that he's carrying a message. So the olive branch says, don't shoot the messenger. And I would be the messenger here. Don't shoot the messenger, but there is a message, and the message is for the public at large. Be aware that there will be a big outbreak in January of COVID. Sad to say, if you're hearing it first, you're hearing it first. This is the illness. And then this card is the clarifier for that. And I want to say this about this card. We are old hands at this. We've been here and done this before, just like this guy. He's seen a lot. He's been there. He's done that. He knows the drill. We know the drill. We know what we need to do to prepare and to protect ourselves from a COVID outbreak. So let's do those things. And then finally, we have the star, and the clarifier that I pulled on the star is the letter. I think that there will be information disseminated via social media, internet, all of that, for what the new rules and regulations will be, because I think that's what this is. There will be new rules and regulations, like, there may be places where you have to mask up as opposed to doing it voluntarily. The vaccine, where to get the vaccine and how to do all that. So just be on the lookout through social media and the news that you get on social media for that information. And I can mirror the very first card in our line of 5, which was the key, with the very last card, which is the letter, which is to say that the thing that will protect us, the answer, the key is to follow instructions. Again, if you're anti-vax, if you don't believe COVID's a thing, you're probably a Trumper, so why are you here? Okay. So that's that question. That was a viewer question. Now back to 45. I have a couple of questions about him. One is that, I don't know if you know, but Mar-a-Lago, the shining jewel in his empire now, is leveraged to the gills, meaning that there are silent investors who essentially own Mar-a-Lago, probably own a higher percentage of it than 45 himself does. And there is a lot of talk in Palm Beach in general that having Mar-a-Lago there as a club, which meanwhile it's not supposed to be, it wasn't zoned for that, as opposed to a residence, is, it's not doing Palm Beach any good. Traffic is clogged and it's a nightmare. And there is a lot of buzz about whether or not the time has come to set wheels in motion to, can you imagine, evict 45 from the premises, to take over the property. So I think what we're going to do is use the scythe, remember that's that sharp card, and we will call that eviction. So let's ask whether or not 45 faces eviction in the next few months from Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to look for the scythe. Every card I look for today feels like it's deep in the deck. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I've got that. Taking the 2 cards and that just came before it, putting those to the left, and then taking the 2 cards that would have come after it and putting those to the right. All right. Okay, and I pulled a couple of clarifiers. So the cards that I have as to whether Trump will face eviction from Mar-a-Lago because his silent investors will have the leverage to boot him, which is what a lot of people in Palm Beach want. I have the mountain, I have the snake, I have the scythe that stands for eviction, I have the woman, and I have the key. Okay, so let me talk about these cards before I go on to the clarifiers. I think that this conversation about a potential eviction has been in the works for a while. And I think it's hit delay after delay after delay after delay. However, I think that the delays are coming to an end, that there are problems on the horizon for 45 in regard to keeping Mar-a-Lago, because I think that eviction proceedings will proceed apace, as they say. Now, also, remember I said Palm Beach. The mayor of Palm Beach, I think, is a woman. That's this woman. And she's the one who's saying, yeah, I don't know, is his presence here really that great for us? I'm not so sure that it is. And so this woman, of course, holds the key to how quickly this thing happens or not. So I definitely think he will face eviction. Now, I drew clarifiers. First, I drew it on the scythe. Like, what's this eviction about? Well, I got the lily and I got the moon, meaning that the people of Palm Beach, the people in that area, just want peace and quiet. They don't want to be known for 45 and all his whatever documents in the bathroom and stuff like that. They really want their town back. Peace, security, ease, and their reputation. They don't want to be known as Trump world. Okay. Then I drew a couple of clarifiers on the mayor, who is quite instrumental in moving this eviction forward. And I have Clover and I have Star. And I feel like this is just in this case, it's a quick card. It's moving things faster so that they can proceed in the future. But I mean, the future is coming at 45 way faster than he can conceive. And then I drew a couple of clarifiers on the key for this question. And here's the eviction notice. And here is his stress and anxiety and worry about it. And I can mirror the mountain, which is our first card, with the mice. This mountain has been nibbled away at slowly but surely by both the silent investors and by the local government that want him just booted out of there. So yeah, I don't think Mar-a-Lago will be his, I was going to say winter White House, but he won't be in the White House regardless. His residence moving forward. I don't think so. I think he'll be given the boot. Now that means that where's he going to go? Well, he'll go to Bedminster. Now Bedminster is in New Jersey. I came from New Jersey. I live in San Diego now. Best move I could have ever made. Not a Jersey fan. Love a lot of people in Jersey, but one of the reasons I was happy to leave was how Trumpy it got. So even though I'd lived there for 30 years, the buildings looked the same, the landscape looked the same, but the vibe was different, and people create the vibe, right? So I was glad to leave. So I would like to know, but Jersey's kind of a big state. There's lots of different parts to it. I'm going to look at the state as a whole, and I would like to know how will they feel if 45 makes that Bedminster his base because he got the boot from Mar-a-Lago. So how will they receive this? And I think I'll use the garden because, Garden State. See what I did there? All right. So I'm going to use the garden to stand for New Jersey. And I just want to know, how will they feel if it's the first card I pulled. Now, what that means is that I can't put it in the center because it's the first card. So I'm putting it to the left, and then I'm pulling 4 more cards to give me my line of 5. Okay. So here's the Garden State. tower. This is all things legal. And I mean, not for nothing, as they say in Jersey, not for nothing, but 45's got a lot coming at him hard and fast. His legal situation is not going to get better, notwithstanding the Supreme Court's um, interference. His legal situation is going to get more and more difficult. And if he's in Jersey, that's going to bring a lot of attention to Jersey. So because this could not be the card in the middle, I am always interested in these kinds of situations. Well, what card is in the middle? Because that's going to tell me a lot. The Mountain. This says to me that Jersey as a whole is not going to be thrilled about him coming, and may make things inhospitable for him. But I mean, where's he going to go? He can't go to Trump Tower in New York. New York can't stand him either. So looks like New Jersey's not thrilled about this. And we have clouds. Clouds are doubts. So they've got doubts about the guy. Now, what's interesting is the card that is at the end of the line, because we had all these forbidding, foreboding cards, and then voila, we have the bouquet. That's a great card. It's like a reward, a gift, etc. Now he will, 45, will spin this eviction and move to Jersey as he'll spin it his own way. He'll say, what a gift to you all that I am permanently gracing you with my presence. What a gift. But, just because somebody says something, just because somebody says, watch the watch, you don't have to watch the watch. Again, all these court cases and stuff is making Jersey say, bruh, do we really want you here? I don't think so. Now, I drew clarifiers on the bouquet. We have the lily and we have the snake. So where Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach's peace of mind will be regained, Jersey's will be troubled with his presence there. And I can mirror the first card, which is Jersey itself, with the snake. He is nothing but trouble. But Jersey, I left, trouble's coming in the form of 45. Sorry. So let's look at, there's another one I wanted to look at. Now, if you remember the other day, I looked at Jack's appeal of Judge Cannon's position. And the first card in the reading was the child. And I was like, what does that even mean? But the way I chose to interpret it was to say, there's something new coming that has to do with Jack. And it will affect Cannon's case and all the other cases. It's something new that hasn't happened yet. Well, no sooner do I upload the video and put my feet up and watch the news, but I see that there's news, which is that Jack has been very busy. Jack Smith has been very, very busy. And one of the things, the new things that we found out is that he has gone to not a new grand jury, but a grand jury, this is in DC, a grand jury that has already been sitting. It's called 23-8, and they are a grand jury that looks at crime in and around the DC area. And this is also a grand jury that has indicted January 6th participants, and those indicted people have been jailed. It is the same grand jury that brought the case against that found a cause in the case against the guy who tried to carjack Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor. And that guy got snared too, and he's in jail. It is the same grand jury that identified people like Giuliani and Meadows and people like that as unindicted co-conspirators. So anyway, what did Jack do? Jack has gone to them and said, listen, I need you to look at 45. Now, their track record has been absolutely not in favor of the Jan 6 people, and of course 45 as their leader. So this is very bad news for anyone who's already been identified as an unindicted co-conspirator, and I suspect that 45 would be number one on that list. So I thought I would look at, when I looked last time, it was the new thing. And so I'm going to keep it that. I'll use the child card. This new move by Jack. Will that move the needle forward in having 45 meet Lady Justice in a real way? So I'm going to look for the child, and I'm just looking to see whether this new move by Jack by sort of asking the 23-8 grand jury to look at Trump, whether that's going to have legs. So I'll put that in the middle. And I'm taking the two cards that precede it and putting them to the left, and then the other two cards to the right. All right, we have the snake and we have the moon. Yeah, this is a problem for Trump. If nothing else, it's going to be electorally a problem for him, because it's just going to bring everything back out to the light of day, and reputationally, he will be harmed by this. Okay. This is the new move by Jack. We have the young woman and we have the cross. I just feel as though this young woman is energetic, not a person, but it's more energetic. And I think that it is evidence that 45 will be defanged, disempowered, kneecapped, made weak, and having to be receptive to the pain that's coming his way. Because if I look at the line, the snake is the first card, the cross is the last card. It's like him being boxed in by Jack. So we may think Jack's taking too long, but Jack is right on time. Just saying, this is not good news for 45. Okay, one more question that I'd like to look at, which has to do with tonight. Tonight, Kamala Harris is doing her first sit-down interview since the news and her elevation to be the top candidate for the top of the ticket broke. So I think Walls may be there. I'm not sure. But I'd like to know, how will this interview go? How will this interview go? And I think that for the card I want to use as a significator will be the birds, because the birds is an interview, a conversation. How will it go for her? Okay, so I'm just cutting into 3 and looking for the birds, which will stand for the interview, and we will see how that will go for her. She's not necessarily always at her best in that kind of a extemporaneous setting. So, that's why I'd like to know. So this stands for the interview. So I'm putting that in the center and then putting cards to the left. And then all I have left are cards to the right. So we have the key, we have the letter, we have the birds, we have the whip, and we have the heart. Okay, I don't think I need to pull clarifiers on this to be able to interpret what these cards mean. The key, I love the key. I think of it as I've said before, the fraternal twin of the sun. It's that good of a card because it answers questions, it opens doors, it unlocks stuff. So that's really great. What will it unlock? Just saying, more votes in her direction. Here we have the third card, which is our birds. Now, this is a very interesting card. This is the card, this is the whip. And objectively speaking, nobody likes a whip, right? It hurts. However, there are other aspects to this card that are worth discussing in this context. The whip is the card for discipline, right? It's an instrument of discipline. We won't get into all that, but so it's the card, for example, for the writer. It's the card for the athlete. For anybody who has a goal that they can't just wish and have happen, but that they have to put work in, and sort of time in the chair, time in the gym, etc. So she will have been very well prepared for this conversation. I do think that the conversation will be pointed, probably could be rapid fire. But look what we have at the end of the line, the heart. I think the voters will love her even more, those who are inclined to love her. Now we can do the mirroring. For the key to mirror the sun, I'm sorry, I was talking about the key and the sun together. For the key to mirror the heart, this is great. She's needed to do a sit down to prove that she's as good extemporaneously as she is with a prepared speech. We know she's better in a coffee shop than Vance is, just saying. But this will unlock some hearts, right? Some voting hearts. And then we have, these are votes, and we have the whip. She will look disciplined. She will look focused. She will look prepared, and that will win her votes. So it's nice to have a question like that because we'll be able to see whether I am right or not in short order, right? Because it's tonight. So I hope you tune in to that interview. And please do leave your comments, both about how you thought the interview will have gone, and leave questions for me that you'd like me to look at. Again, when it comes to how I place the cards or what they mean, I will be giving you little lessons as I go, but that is not the intention of my channel. The intention of my channel is to use Lenormand to look at important questions of the day so that the universe can help guide us, can show us what's coming in, can make us feel as though we are empowered as we move through these next months and beyond. So again, speaking of empowered, get your COVID shot in the fall when you can. Stock up on masks. I do think COVID is coming again in a big way. But as that older man card reminded us, we've been here, we've done that, we know how to do this. Okay? Wishing you all the best, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and share if you've not done it already. Thank you.